I've run over here to the side counter where Ben Boyles, who's a agribusiness extension agent up in York County, is sitting, and he's sitting next to a very good friend.
Yeah.
Who is?
Right. Beckee Garris from the Catawba Indian Nation, one of our artisans on the tour.
And I think you're going to sit there and work your magic
yes.
while we look at some pictures, and when we come back, we'll see how fast you can make a basket, Becky. But you've got a cool thing going, Ag and Art Tour, and I think we've got some pictures that we can look at and talk a little bit about it while we do that.
Great.
So let's see, we're going to start, I think, with some pictures of little houses that have quilts on them, and that's how we'll start off. So tell me what this represents, please.
These are all the counties participating in this year's tour. We have 9 counties, and they each have their individual barn quilt to kind of represent their county.
And that's so cool that you've got a barn quilt. Yeah.
It's our image. We're the nation's largest farm and art tour. So
I'm so impressed that something something really positive about South Carolina. And then here we've got a map, and this is a lot of little points, and it adds up to how many?
We have 67 sites this year.
Gosh.
And those sites are farms, farmers markets, and community gardens. And at each site, we have artisans such as Becky demonstrating their craft.
And you know, that is just perfect, because Tony was just telling us that farming is actually a combination of art and science.
For sure.
And so is creating art.
Exactly. It's a great blending.
Yeah, because both of them are using materials to turn it to enhance them. Okay, and then we now see that you've got some color-coded little pictures up there, and that tells us something about how you've got this divided up.
Right. We have 9 counties participating this year every weekend in June. The first weekend is June 4th and 5th, and that's Chesterfield, Darlington, and Horry County.
Alrighty.
The second weekend is June 11th and 12th, and that's Lancaster and York counties. The third weekend is June 18th and 19th, and that's Kershaw and Fairfield County. And we close the month with Chester and Union counties in June 25th and 26th.
Last but not least. And then I think we've got some pictures of things that are going on, and you said this is not just for grown-ups, this is for everybody.
For everybody. All ages, for sure. This is an example of one of our check-in sites at one of our sites. But we really want it to be very interactive. We encourage our artisans to do demonstrations and to really engage all the visitors.
Okay, so it looks like people are having a real good time, and there's a lot of variety of things that are going on. And of course, everybody likes to rub the nose of a horse and see how soft and velvety it is. And then I think you've even got something for people who like to stick a bottle in, peaches, of course, because we're the tastier peach state.
That's right.
And then we've got some other animals I think that they go to see. Oh, a bee.
Beekeeping, for sure.
The angels of agriculture.
Right.
Yeah, it sure does.
We have a great diversity of farms and artisans.
You sure do. And then, so let's look at what you've got here.
Yes, so we encourage folks to go online to our website, agandarttour.com, to pick out a few sites, plan their tour. At their first stop, they'll check in, sign in, and they'll receive their tour guide.
Okay.
And this tour guide has all the sites in it for every county, so this is good for the entire month. And it's color-coded by weekend, so you can make it easier to get around.
Okay, and we talked about this the importance of having the artisans there. So let's talk a little bit to our visitor. And Becky, tell me, you are representing the Catawba Nation, and so tell me why it's important to you and to other members of your nation to continue these traditional crafts.
Number one, it's in our blood and it's who we are.
Okay.
That's part of our identity through our pottery and now through our baskets.
And you learned pottery as a young child.
I did.
But y'all have had a diversion. There have been a lot of challenges. And the woman who's teaching you basketry, she has a lovely, tell us that story.
Yeah. Well, it's Faye Greiner. She went to a boarding school in Cherokee, North Carolina. And
specifically for Indian children, Native American
children.
Yes.
And so whenever she left there, she came back to the reservation in Rock Hill, and then she got married and moved to Michigan. And so while she was in Michigan and while she was working, she also was making baskets and selling them in her spare time.
Because it was in her blood. That was a tradition. That was part of who she was.
Yes, and so when she came back to South Carolina and to the reservation, she brought her basket making techniques with her, and she started teaching some of the people on the reservation to make them, because she's the first basket maker we've had in over 100 years.
And you all are so thrilled with this because, as you say, this is how you keep who you are as a people. And I think y'all are trying hard to make sure that you don't have this huge gap, because you've got some summer programs. Tell me how you're encouraging young people to learn these programs.
We have a summer culture immersion program coming up for about 40 of our Catawba children. And so they're learning the baskets, they're learning the pottery, they're learning some of the language. and then different types of native games, and they also have their own raised bed gardens.
And y'all's are somewhat
Right.
non-traditional because
Yes.
they are your tradition. Tell
Yes.
us what makes it your tradition in the
Well,
garden.
in native traditions, they call what we have the three crops that they call the three sisters. It's corn, beans, and squash. The corn is planted first, then the beans, and then the squash. And each one of those plants puts something back into the earth that the other plant needs.
So the original sustainable farming
Right.
practices.
And the beans go up the stalk, so you automatically have your stalk for the
Of the
beans to
corn,
run
yeah.
up. And then the squash is close to the ground, so that keeps the moisture in.
Just like a mulch, but it's
Yes.
a living mulch that you
Yes.
can also harvest.
And then we also have one at the Native American Study Center in Lancaster, which is also part of that. And so they have a native garden, raised beds there also.
And all of these are places that if you get your tour guide,
Exactly.
when
Yes.
York County is having its weekend, you can come and learn this. And you told me something that was kind of dear. You said that although y'all have certain iconic art forms that you adhere to,
Right.
you're also allowed to have some expression.
Yes. Well, like all artists, we have our own personal things that we like to make. And like I say, our traditional pottery pieces, we cannot sway from those whatsoever. Like we cannot use a kiln, we cannot use a potter's wheel to make it. It's all coil method or pinch method. But as an artist, we are allowed to kind of like things that we like to make.
And
Just
so,
like I
which
make-
is beautiful. Yeah,
yes.
yeah. Well,
And
thank
so-
you for sharing
well,
that
thank you.
information with us.
Thank
Well,
you.
let's talk a little bit. Why is it important for us to try to get people to go to farms?
Yeah, well, these days farmers need multiple revenue streams, and agritourism could be one way to diversify. And a tour like this is a great way for farms that don't normally bring people onto their farm as a way to test the waters, if you will, to see if that might be something they want to incorporate in their businesses.
And we know that farmers now, it used to be that farmers were just kind of one track and they did
Right.
one thing. But now we have new people coming into farming.
yes, for
we have
sure.
new generations.
New
and they're
methods.
and
Right.
so one of the things that this is going to do is lets people also go and see and have a connection with the people who are actually putting the food
You
on the
got
table.
it. Put a face with the food that we eat.
Yeah, yeah.
Yes.
And I think that encourages us then to support our farmers. And there's been a wonderful study since you're in agribusiness
Right.
at the South Carolina Department of Agriculture website done by the Moore School of Business, and it said if we preferentially
Right.
chose to support and say I'm going to get this piece of vegetable from the
Right.
grocery store because it's certified South Carolina grain, that we know it could have a tremendous
Oh,
impact
a
on our
wonderful
state.
multiplier
Yeah,
effect in the
yeah,
local
yeah.
communities that we live in.
And just help the economy, and
All
everyone
around.
would benefit.
Exactly
Well,
right,
I just
exactly
think
right.
that June sounds like it's going to be a wonderful month, and I'm going to get my calendar out and find out just how many miles
Yes.
I'm going to travel.
Right.
This is just terrific. And remind us once again of how we can get the information about this.
The easiest way is to go to our website, agandarttour.com, or call the Clemson Extension Office in York County.
Which is where you're based
That's
and
where
where
I'm
this
based.
started, and boy, it's really
It has.
expanding.
Yes, we're
As
very
a matter
excited.
of fact, one of the artists in here is Andrew Lazenby is in the Master Naturalist course of me, and has been telling me how
Oh, great.
exciting and how thrilling it is for him to go, how happy he is to be a part of this program. Thank you
It's
for
a
giving
really
this
neat new
opportunity.
community. Thank you very
And
much for
Becky, we
having
thank
us.
you so much, and
Well,
I know
thank
that
you.
everybody who comes and visits you is going to be happy to learn more about the Catawba people who are such an important part of South Carolina's history.
Thank you.
All righty.
Thank you.